I do think there's going to be 20 to 25%. No, you missed nothing. I won't do anything until Andy gets here anyways. You missed nothing. Okay. And this is just me yapping. Okay. Because, you know me, I like to yap. I think there's going to be a 20 to 25% move in the fourth quarter. And I don't think that it can be up. So we'll see. Hey, our positions don't necessarily call it that way, which is what I'm trading. Those are my positions. Okay. But again, I can see it happening. I missed one. You sent them to me too early. I didn't think about it. Give them to me again. I forget. It's you give them to me on Monday, and I don't always think about it right away. I always take the blue plates. You're a blue plate specialist. Okay. I mean, but at the end of the day, okay, again, the market is always the market. Okay, that does not change. Okay, and whatever the action was, and we cannot change what the market did. We can only either react to it, do nothing, or be on the right side. Okay, and of course, many of the markets we have been on the right side, and some we've been on the wrong. And the biggest problem that we've had is the overall chop. That hurts. The chopping. A chopping market with no follow through on either side is always going to be a problem. Okay, anytime you are trend trading, that is going to cause an issue and a problem. Okay, that is just a natural view of the markets. Because of course, if you're depending on a trend, you need follow through in either direction that you are trading. Okay. And of course, when you move just far enough to do one thing, and then you move back to the other side, it becomes a pain in the what. Okay. So, again, we trade them, we're in them, and we will benefit from them when they finally decide to break out. Okay. We understand it, we see it. It doesn't always make us feel good, but again, this pattern is nearly impossible. Okay. I mean, basically and this has been going on for almost a year. I mean, the entire year we've been in basically consolidation. Okay. As we start to enter, we've got the last week of the third quarter here, and we'll be entering the fourth quarter. Okay. That's never, this action, this is going to change. Okay. I predict this will not stay in this range for the rest of the year. Okay. I predict it will be well up on top or on the bottom of this range. Okay. But again, I have no more knowledge than anybody else other than I understand the markets. Okay. And I've seen these movies, unfortunately, too many times before, and they always have the same ending. And then they end up always doing what they're supposed to do, which is what we're looking for. Okay. And it's the same as the day trading. I mean, we were 3-0 today, okay, in day trading. Okay, and we could have had a fourth, but we passed. But we were in 4-0. Okay, but the point that we're getting more trades now, okay, is the important part. Again, it's the opportunities that show, which gives us the greatest opportunity. Okay, the more we can do, the more it follows through in our regular stuff, or the more it swings back and forth with panic in our day trading. But they're starting to show more, which is an important fact, because that means that they're starting to become more, there's more action in the market, and more action in the market will create better opportunity for us. Okay. And that, all we want is the opportunity to be on the right side of the market. Okay. And get out of these, impossible ranges that are just almost impossible to trade. Okay. The ranges that we've been trading in are floor trader ranges. where you can grab the edge on either side. Okay. And so that, again, this is just, you look at the gold and silver markets. I mean, they're going nowhere right now. Now we're short them and they've been okay, but they're going nowhere. As much as the gold bugs want to tell me that I'm nuts, well, which is, listen, saying I'm nuts is not a far stretch anyways. Okay. Everybody knows I'm already nuts. So, it's where we go and what we do from here. Okay. And, is gold going up in the next 10 years? Yeah, probably make new highs, probably be a lot higher. But in the next day, I don't think so. The next week, I don't think so. But again, I will be short until that changes. But I believe that the gold will take out the flash crash lows, just like silver and platinum finally did. Okay, that's not all the way down to here. Okay, silver and platinum have already done so. So why would I expect gold to be different? This is one of the things you got to remember, is that market trading is based on history. Even though we're trying to eliminate history in this country, okay, the market history tells you, listen, it's not always right, we know that, but it does help you forecast, because the patterns themselves repeat over and over again. Okay, and that's what we're playing. No matter what we're playing the pattern, not what the president says, not what news comes out, not the economic data, not the fact that containers are, from China are 25,000 instead of 2. Okay, not to talk about, it doesn't have anything to do with that the ships are lined up in Long Beach and in New Jersey. Okay, the price action is all that matters. Okay, so you can make reasons why you want to be on one side of the market or the other. Okay, that is the very reason that we hedge, because we don't have to worry about the side, and our biggest portion of our money is taken care of and hedged and protected. Okay, and then we invest the rest and play around trying to get more and to create bigger opportunities. But that's why we sit with a hedging model, so that we can be protected, okay, against whatever adverse markets happen, benefit from both sides eventually, but not be forced out of the market. What's the worst thing in the world? To be forced out and then find out that you made a mistake. Then you can't get back in. Okay. So again, these are things to remember about markets, is they're going to go in a direction until they don't. And when they consolidate, whether it be narrow. Now, narrow is obviously better for us because we don't change. Okay, it's when you get the wide sweeping variety of congestion is a pain in the ass. Okay? That's when you get tormented, because again, they swing just far enough, to reverse, and then they swing far enough back the other way to reverse, and you sit there and get hammered over the head. Okay, as you continue to wait for the opportunities, and again, they always play eventually. Okay, and it comes back to money management, control, and not chasing. And look who's here. What's up, my brother? Or maybe you're not here yet. Okay, I know he's here. He's in the building. Okay, but he's not. His mic might not be open yet. Okay, so I will let him know when he.
I am here.
There he is. What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing all right. What's going on?
Nothing. I was just talking about the wild divergence in the different markets today.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of action here.
I mean, it was a pretty quiet day, but the Russell was up over 300, and the Nasdaq was down 140.
Yeah. I mean, also the S&P and Dow diverged.
Well, they were that's a spread that I trade, so that was actually beneficial, and I started to reverse it the other way, because I'm playing the stretch of the rubber band there. Okay.
Yeah. And it's all about oil and natural gas today.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You're telling me, I just realized, when I did my daily update, I said, well, it looks like we're going to take out the 570 high. I didn't realize we were going to do it today.
Oh yeah. Action. Lots of action.
So is there any is there any news driving the natural gas, or is
Yeah,
it
there's a storm. There's another storm approaching.
okay?
So, that's driving the price up. But, listen, what underpins it? It's energy policy.
No, that I mean I know, but what about? I mean, obviously you saw crude was very strong all day. I mean, it had a couple of minor sellouts, but up $1.50. I mean, we're now, we making new highs again from
Yeah,
recent.
that's a new high on the November contract, but we're coming close to that 76.98 level on
Okay.
the continuous contract, which is the target. But look, it looks like we're going to blow through that too.
It looks like we're going to 100, which we both said a long time ago. But was there any news that drove this today, or
storms. I think it's Storm Fan, named after your daughter.
Oh yeah, Hurricane Sam.
Yeah.
Listen, they couldn't have named it after a better person.
Yeah.
I've had Hurricane Sam for 25 years, so I know all about it.
But the storms at this time of the year, but these are wild prices, and it's inflation. And listen, they're going to vote on this package later this week, and they're going to raise taxes. And you got Fed governors resigning today, and you have all kinds of stuff.
Who resigned today?
Two Fed governors. One of them said that he's going to resign, because of health problems, but he's caught in that it's kind of a semi-scandal with it, where they were investing in certain
Which one was that?
I don't have
The guy from Texas?
Yeah, the guy from Texas is gone, and another guy, I think the guy from Boston is gone.
They're crooked. They're criminals anyways.
So the bottom line is, I mean, and after watching, everyone thinks that the Fed's going to be hawkish. I'm going the other way, because I think that Biden is not going to reappoint Powell. I think he's going to pick Leal Brainerd or the other guy from Minnesota, who are far more dovish, and the markets are going to react to that violently.
Kashkari, the jackass.
Yeah, one of those two, because quite frankly, he's getting a lot of pressure from the progressives, and he's going to need them to compromise on some of because they're going to lower the budget by some X number of trillion, and that's going to I think he's going to throw Powell under the bus, even though Yellen wants Powell for another term. But that's going to come up, and that term is up early in 2022. He was supposed to make this appointment by Labor Day, and last I checked, it's after Labor Day.
No, not according to him. You don't know where he's at, so how could he know it's after Labor Day?
So the bottom line is, I think he's not going to reappoint.
I
think he copped too hawkish a tone at the last meeting for the administration to like. I mean, they want to keep interest rates low. Do you know that a 30 trillion national debt, each 25 basis point rise in the Fed funds rate will cost the U.S. government $75 billion a year?
Yeah.
They're talking about 5 by the end of 2023. So that's 5 times 75. That's $375 billion.
That's why they really can't hike.
Right. So the bottom line is, I think, they're going to put their own person in there. And listen, he's got the big black mark against them because Trump appointed him.
So we've watched the 10-year continue to creep higher. Okay.
Yeah, the bond market vigilantes are back.
Okay, so you think that it's the bond market vigilante is not just natural?
No, I think they're back. I think they're pushing.
Okay.
I think they're back and pushing. They pushed the December long bond down through the 160 briefly. So it smelled. We said they were going to come back, and I think they're back.
Now the question is, do they have enough bullets to really force action here?
They got a lot of bullets.
Listen, it's the biggest market in the world, and
they got a lot of bullets. They got a lot of bullets.
And
there's a lot of stuff going on. Listen, the regulatory agencies are cracking down on cryptos big time. That's coming down the pike. You're going to get a new Fed chief, in my opinion. I mean, I'd be shocked if he reappoints Mr. Powell.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, as much as I don't like the Fed, and as much as I think they're all idiots,
yeah,
I think that Mr. Powell would be the best guy to have in there. because he's at least rational. I think you'll get an irrational.
I think he's irrational like everybody else. I think, in my opinion, when you get appointed to the Fed, you become an instant moron.
I think they're going to go much more dovish. I think they're going to go much more dovish under another chief.
It could be. I don't.
And much more political. Listen, the bottom line is that the reason they don't like Powell is they say that, you know, they want him to push climate change and they want him to push social equity, and he's not pushing that to their liking. Even though he makes some lip service to it, he's not pushing it to their liking. And Brainard or Kashkari would do much more for that. And that's why I think that they're going to get the job. And I think Yellen will capitulate because, you know, why not?
So,
by the way, the Germans also elected a socialist.
Well, they could, right? He was the biggest vote getter, but it wasn't clear, correct?
Oh, but he's going to be, you know, he's going to replace Merkel.
No, I understand. I look at
Merkel was a conservative. She was a conservative socialist.
the world has lost their mind.
Yeah. So you know, we're going to get, you know, a very dovish Fed, in my opinion, and you know that could push the dollar a lot lower, because the dollar's been rallying because of interest rate differentials, in my opinion. It's not running away on the upside because the market's afraid of a dovish Fed. So, you know, that's kind of what we're seeing here. You know, that could also turn the precious metals around a little bit. I think we're going to see a lot of volatility in the coming weeks. And I think that, you know, it's going to come out of Washington.
Okay. I mean, it was very slow today, even though there was such a wide divergence.
Well, that's because everything is pending, you know. We'll wait until the decisions come down. The market expects Wall Street and Yellen want Powell back. They don't get it, they're not going to react well.
Do you believe that there is enough moderate Democrats that will stand in the way of these ridiculous?
They'll compromise, and I think it'll be a $2.5 trillion bill. And I think you'll get the $1 billion in infrastructure. I think that the combination will be $3.5 trillion, and they'll raise the debt ceiling. I think it's a compromise. I don't think you'll get $3.5 trillion, but I do think you'll get those tax hikes. Maybe they'll shave a couple of percentage points off, but you'll get them.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my view. I mean, I could be
wrong.
No,
listen, we can only give our opinion. We don't know what they're
my opinion. I mean, God knows what's going to happen. But quite frankly, Bubba, you know, Washington is about compromise, and they're going to they need Manchin, they need Sinema or whatever her name is from Arizona, and the Senate. They have the votes in the House. You know, they have the votes to pass it in the House, but there's going to be compromise.
But I guess, but there is enough. Is there enough moderates in the House that may, you know, coming into
no, because they won't put a bill up until they have the votes. You know, when Pelosi, she might be a lot of things, but one thing she definitely is she's a smart politician, and she's not bringing a vote to the floor that she knows won't pass. So all the negotiations will be done ahead of time.
With an election year coming up, you know, these guys are all taking their jobs at risk.
They're taking a leap of faith that within a year, you know, that over the next year people will forget.
Yeah, they'll forget when their 401s collapse. Okay.
Yeah, well,
you know, again, the free money. You know, you said it before. You know, is the market going up because of they're adding to the money supply, or is the market going up because it's actually strong? Okay.
The market's going up because the dollar's going down in value, and all fiat currencies are going down in value. That's my opinion. That continues to be my opinion. That's my overwhelming opinion on all of these assets.
It sounds like you got a bitch today.
No, I don't really have too much of a bitch. I mean, I think that, you know, I guess if I was going to bitch about anything is that, you know, the people in Congress and the people at the Fed, they shouldn't be allowed to trade and invest. They should have their money in blind trusts. And the fact that there's a whole scandal now over the stupid, you know, over their investment is just very poor. It's very, very bad. And this is somewhere where I agree with AOC, that dope. I agree with her. They should not be able to invest because they have inside information. We go to jail for that. They get, you know, reelected for that. And that's a horrible situation. So we need new laws that say, you want to go there, you're not allowed to invest. You put your money in a blind trust, let someone manage it for you, and don't look at it. What are you in your office buying and selling stocks? Come on.
No, There was one other Fed governor before that they let slide on it too. I forget what his name was, but
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. They got a lot of senators, and all that kind of stuff. They're buying all kinds of stuff, and that's Republicans and Democrats alike. I mean, they're investing in drugs during the pandemic. They're investing in this and that. That should not be allowed. By the way, you go to Washington, concentrate on doing good.
right.
Stop, trying to improve your own situation. Most of the people who are there are very wealthy. And, those who are not very wealthy, don't have the money to do it. So this is, it's criminal. Got to stop that.
Right.
Hey, listen, to me, term limits are the answer. 1 or 2 terms in Congress, 1 or 2 terms in the Senate, and done.
No,
Go back and don't go, and you can't go work for a lobbyist. You got to go back and do what you did before. Were you a lawyer? You go back, you be a lawyer. You go back, you're a doctor, go back and be a doctor. You're a businessman, go back, or businesswoman, go back and go back into business. Come, bring your experience, use it for public service, and then go back into the private sector. That, just like the founding fathers said, politics is not a career, it's service.
1 6-year term for everybody, and that's it. Goodbye, good luck, and have a nice day.
I don't want to, if you're going to do a 1 6-year term for Congress, you're going to have to revolve it, because I don't want to see Congress. I like that Congress changes every 2 years. That's good. That's a checks and balances. So maybe you do a third every, every 2 years.
Whatever. I don't care. I just don't. Listen. I'm a fan of neither party, because they're both, as far as I'm concerned, they're all criminals. Okay. And I'm sure there's some good people in there, but most of them are criminals. Okay. And they are straight, again, I always ask the question, why would anybody spend $40 million of their own money to get elected to a 200,000?
They're not spending their own money. They're spending George Soros's money, or they're spending the Koch brothers' money, or they're spending the money of people that they are beholden to. Got to stop that.
Right. But I mean, Blair Hull, for example, he put up $40 million of his own money.
Yeah.
40 million of his own cash, not to mention what he raised. So,
and he lost.
I know. Well, he lost because he got the story, right before the election about that he beat his wife, which was not true, but it was too late. This is always the problem of planting the right story at the right time.
How much did it cost to plant that story?
Well, ask President Obama. He's the one who benefited, because he was the one who beat Blair Hull, and Blair Hull had a huge lead. Pelosi does the same shit. That's listen, no question about it. Okay, that's just a comment. You and me, I don't swear here. Sometimes.
Yeah, Pelosi does this. They all do the same thing.
Just buy Bubba coin. That's the best coin to buy.
Bubba coin.
But
Bubba coin. Again, the man who was supposed to be the pioneer of fintech has basically said that he expects them to disappear, and that's Gary Gensler, the SEC chairman. That's a political agenda. I said this from the beginning. I write it all the time.
I know.
I'm telling you that it goes against the status quo. It goes against control of the money supply and the government. So I'm not going to go down easy with this.
Right. No, you're right. Listen, again, I'm anti.
You say it by the way, you say it every time. Don't invest more than you can lose, because they can, as Ray Dalio said, they can kill it. They can kill it.
Right.
And believe me, if they can, they will. I
hate the Fed because they're criminals. Okay. They're stupid and they're criminals. Okay. The government are criminals. Okay. That's the problem. And the real problem is you could never get a legitimate third party on board. Not that they would be better, but you could never get a true libertarian, because they can't get on all the ballots. It's virtually impossible.
It's a rigged system. It's like the foreign exchange market. It's a rigged system. It's a rigged system. But I will say this, like the foreign exchange system, the reason that foreign exchange, the volatility is so low, is because you measure one against the other, measure it against all the things you have to buy. The political system also, if you push people too far, they're going to react, and they're going to react eventually.
You're right.
React.
Listen, I'm in agreement with you 100%. In the meantime, so you mentioned the dollar, and of course we're long dollars, and here we are.
Right.
We were up against resistance last week when we were here, and we tried to push through it, came back down.
All that chart is telling you, Bubba, listen, and we follow the trends, so we're long the dollar. But all the chart is telling you is that the dollar believes that Chairman Powell will be reappointed. If he is not, watch out below.
Yep, duck. That's
Duck,
what it's like.
right,
So
duck.
Connie will be 90.
And by the way, stocks will probably rally because they'll not mean the stock market's going back higher because they're just going to continue the printing presses.
There will be an email sent after this is done with both recordings, the pregame and the notes and the actual call, because we'll split
the post game.
and the post game.
Bubba wants to do a post game.
Yeah, 93 to 93.50, Connie. Okay, and as we scroll down to the euro currency, which was, again, it looks as good as the dollar looks. I mean, the dollar looks, that's as bad as the euro currency looks. And again, they are trading.
Should look bad. You got a socialist in charge of Germany now.
Well, I guess, look, they've been stealing. England's been stealing since the 1600s. Okay, that's where central banking began. And how God knows how they ever convinced the United States to go into central banking. I'll never know. Okay, but the euro, again, I'd make this 117. We're not buyers for sure. We're only sellers, again, depending on a trade, right? I mean,
because the Roth, you know what? You want to go back in history? Let's talk about that for a minute. The Rothschilds.
Yeah, I know.
The Rothschilds really controlled the English banking system. And you know what? You know where they made a lot of their money, Bubba? One of the brothers sat in France, one of them sat in England, and during the Franco-British Wars, they financed both sides and they made fortunes.
Right.
Beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, no, listen.
Can't lose.
The Rothschilds, J.P. Morgan, that group.
Vanderbilts, the Astors,
they screwed everybody.
Robber barons. Now we have the modern day robber barons.
Right. They robbed everybody, and they knew what they were doing, and they set it up for exactly what it is. And again, I always refer back to The Creature from Jekyll Island, because if you read that book, okay, you will hear things that are happening today. You were written about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whenever he wrote the book, and he was telling you that this was indeed going to happen, almost verbatim as the way it's happening. And again, I go back to, and I would bet real serious money that not one bank, okay, maybe a couple, but could actually stand up to a real stress test. Okay, not the artificial bullshit stress test that they give them, 117 to 117.50. Okay, not the artificial test that they give them now that just they pass everybody basically, but a real test. Okay, but I don't know that for a fact. I can't say it for a fact. I can only tell you that that's what I think. Okay, Bitcoin, it's still hovering. 40,000 is still the key support level. We're lifting off a little bit. Okay, but it is really in a little bit of a downtrend. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like all this regulatory nonsense that's going
on. We'll get to my
big
later, but it was interesting. Okay, I was on Friday with Liz Clayman, last Friday every month, and right before me was the chairman of the board of Ripple. Okay, now Ripple is all pre-mined and no mining like you see in others. Okay, and they were actually trying at one point a few years ago. They were trying to get in bed with the government and the Federal Reserve, and they made a great point. But now, of course, they couldn't, because the government wants nobody else in there. They want the ability to add whenever they want. Okay, and so they're starting to talk more and heavily about regulations, and that's a potential problem. But I don't believe personally that they can get it done. Okay, they can regulate all they want, but I think that these sites, these coins, these wallets, or whatever they're called, that will be able to exist. And I think it will really not now, not today at this moment, but over time will only enhance the value. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it'll survive. It's the question of where it'll survive. If we don't regulate it properly, we'll push it offshore. It'll survive somewhere else. There's other governments that want it to survive. China's banned it. I would venture to say that in China, they're still trading it and using it. no question. Russia's not thrilled about it, but they're using it there. And it'll continue. But it's going to be a bumpy road because, when they make these fatwas, about all this stuff, you're going to see downdrafts, and then it'll come back. But it's not running away on the upside, in my opinion, right now. Listen, it's thin and illiquid. There's no question. So you could have any one of a number of things happen. But if you believe that the power in this country is in Silicon Valley, in California, then you got to be bullish on this stuff because they want it.
Right. And they're going to get it. I think they're going to get it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Listen, only invest what you could lose. Yeah, and that's it. That's
100%. In the meantime, it's still 40 to 50,000.
And by the way, I wish there were options. So because I would love to trade this stuff because it's volatile and I like volatility.
Bitcoin soup has some options, but still not ready for me. And
it's not ready. It's not liquid enough.
Right. Well, it's only monthly. I don't trade quarterly options for.
Right. But, hey, you could trade these with the trends. That's okay. But, be careful and only trade the liquid ones. Don't look at anything that has less than $10 billion market cap, because you're going to get your head cut off because the gaps can be brutal. And a gap on the downside could gap to zero. Don't believe me.
Anyways, thanks, Jo. Appreciate it. I'll check it out. And in the meantime, so Bitcoin 40 to 50,000. Coco. I'm Coco. I'm Joe. Suddenly, now we're still long, but does not look as good as it did. Okay.
Well, Coco looks as bad as cotton looks good. How's that?
Well, we're not looking at cotton right now. We're looking at cocoa.
Yeah, Coco.
This does not look.
It's still, in my opinion. I don't know I didn't discuss with Bubba what the trend says right now. It's turned, no question, but the trend since mid-July is still higher.
Oh no! Listen. Again, we'll see where it's at, but the print at 2680, and now at 2540, it looks pretty ugly. I'm going to guess. Again, we're still long as of today. Okay.
Keep talking. I got to fix my desk.
No worries. We're still long as of today. I don't give you levels here. You want the levels here too? You don't want them, do you? I'm not giving them if you want them. I can certainly read a chart. Reads the same way. Okay, 2520 to 2600. Okay, cotton, as Andy mentioned, cotton's going to $1. Okay.
Well, it almost did today. It came within.
I'm saying it actually did it get there?
No,
99.86.
86. Okay, I was off by a point.
Now,
I mean, look, that thing downdrafted, got everyone scared, and boom.
We're still long.
I know we stayed long through it, which I was very happy about because it smelled like a.
It smelled like the Chinese were flirting with cotton.
Yeah, it smelled like China, India. Listen, those are the important places for cotton.
Right, but in the meantime,
it also smells like the uranium market now, which they pushed down, and I think that'll come back too.
Now, just again, so you understand.
By the way, there's another one: cotton and natural gas. They got the bullish.
Hold on, Sparky. Hold on. Let me get there. I'm just saying. I can one commodity at a time. Okay. Cotton had a blow off on Friday, and look what happened. It continued today. Now, again, if you trade this stuff, okay, and you day trade it, which I do not because I'm not paying them the COMEX or the New York Merc $120 a month extra, so screw down. But certainly you may want to look at this if it spikes higher tomorrow back to 100. You may want to take a look. If it starts to show a little weakness, you may want to take a trade there as a blow off only.
Absolutely. Just look at the chart. Every time it's made a new high, it's come off. The pattern is very clear. And then it consolidates and then it fakes everyone out. Every time it's had a fake out on the downside and come back.
I had one of my farmers today say, should we roll our head? I said, no, let's keep making the money. We'll roll it later. Gold, look, I said this, before Andy got here, I'll say it when he's here. I think gold's going to take out the flash flow. Again, platinum did it. Silver did it. I think gold does it as well. We are still short, but
I'd say technically you are correct. If he appoints another Fed chief,
I don't think it matters. I think it's going to happen well before that. And again, I don't care. The price action is weak. Every rally,
it's very weak. It's very weak.
Okay, and Basel III is not having the desired effect as it was supposed to have. Okay, it's done nothing.
Short gold.
Other than the quick bounce, it's got nothing but go down. In the meantime, for today, 1740 is support, 1780 is resistance. Sounds familiar. I think we were there last week. Okay.
Right.
But
And Bubba, I'm very comfortable being short gold here.
yeah,
No question about it. You know, and my real long-term fundamental support is way below here for the gold market. So I could see the price going to 1600. No
right.
problem.
In the meantime, we're not buyers anyway. We're at this point, we're only sellers, but we are, Andy and I do buy physical. Okay.
Right.
That is, remember that trading and investing and the board or futures or stocks or ETFs are one thing, and physical metals are another. It is a completely different atmosphere and a completely different arena.
There's a different time horizon. In the physicals, it's unlimited time horizon.
And if you're taking the delivery or it's being stored for you, if you panic, if you overinvest and panic and feel you need to sell it, you will never sell it where you want to sell it. Just remember that, okay? That when you're buying a physical metal, it is something you're going to hold for a long duration. And if you sell it sometime, you want to sell it 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% higher. You're not looking to scalp this. So again, that's the difference in the board. We call it the board. Okay. You know, a board trade or a paper trade is for trading. Okay. But paper trading is not for long term, because I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. In my opinion, there ain't enough gold to cover the paper that's out there now. So I may be wrong, but that's my opinion. Okay. What do you think based on that topic?
35,000 tons of central bank gold. The bottom line is that there's enough gold, in my opinion, there's enough gold to fund the shorts. However, that's as long as central banks lend gold to financial institutions. If they decide that the risk is too high and they don't do it, then Bubba's 100% correct.
Okay.
And that's from someone who ran a gold dealing operation.
Right. I know, but things have changed since the years of when you were trading down there.
No, I understand, but there's still 30 to 40,000 metric tons sitting in central bank.
Do we know that for sure? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the US. I'm talking about worldwide.
Okay.
I've seen it in London. I've seen it in New York. I know there's a lot of gold.
I hope I'm wrong. You know, I don't like to be right about these things, but typically we find out that I will be eventually right. Anyway. But anyways, we'll see. Feeders, you know, listen, they had a little pop. They were down a little bit today, and certainly no worry. And actually, they came back quite a bit. Now that I see, you know, when I was on RFD, feeders were down about $2.50, and they came all the way back.
Yeah, they settled down 3 cents, didn't they?
This says 37 cents.
Which one are you looking at?
How the hell have I know?
No, because I attributed.
I gotta look at my other chart. I'll tell you.
I attributed the move in the feeders today to a rally in corn.
They did go down 3, and you're correct.
Corn was up today, and I think that weighed on the feed.
Yeah, that's a natural, right?
Right.
But overall, okay, you know, I think they've shown some reasonable bottoming action. You know, both the fats or feeders and the fats.
Yeah, the fats did nothing today.
What's that, babe? No, they didn't.
Fats did nothing as a marginal.
No, they did nothing. Is right.
The hogs were a big move on the upside today. Hogs did well.
Hogs are up again. Now, again, I would suspect, you know, we're short both fats and feeders, and hogs, I would suspect might change here. This is, you know, limit up.
That was a big move.
Now, again, it was on minuscule volume based on where it should be, but still, again, we don't ask the volume, we ask the price, and if the price violates, okay. I have my father's gold, my kids will get mine. Right. As mine will get mine. I will never sell 1 ounce of my own gold, but I assure you, the minute I drop, okay, my kids will be selling it. Okay. I can start now. Okay. I'll go back. Let me rewind. Okay. When I write the note, though, it says we start sometime around 4:30 Eastern. Just if you ever read what I sent, you might know that that's what time I start. Anyways. Copper, you know, we're still short copper, and it is still in downtrend. Okay. Now, obviously, $4 is pretty solid support, right?
Yeah, I kind of like, the lower highs is ugly, but I kind of like the marginal higher lows there. You know, so we'll see. Still on a downtrend. We'll have plenty of time to reverse this. Right. If copper's going to $7, $8, or $9, we've got plenty of time.
You know, but in the meantime,
no, I will say one thing about copper, aluminum, and zinc.
Yeah.
China sold 420,000 metric tons between July 6th and September 1st via 3 auctions to cool off the metals. Do you know from July 6th through last Friday, the prices of all 3 metals were higher? That's kind of a slap in the face. The Chinese kind of pee-peeing in the ocean here.
Yeah, if you're right. Yeah. I think that's, their way of doing some of the things that they do.
Well, they want the price lower because they're buyers.
They used to be the manipulator for lending value because the banks used to take copper as a loan value in China.
Right. Well, they got enough debt problems over there with Evergrande.
No shit. So 440, $4 to 440. We are short.
Absolutely. Okay. $4 to 440 is the range. We're going to bounce around in the
coffee. I made a nice little comeback today. We're still long coffee now. This is changed a little bit from last week talk. That did hold a nice bottom. Okay, and now it looks like we're going to head back over $2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Higher lows looking okay.
No, and we remain long and lumber, which we don't trade, but we talk about, and it's still basically in nowheresville. It's in tight consolidation. It did hold the 500 level, which Andy talked about, but it is still down from 1800. So you can look at it, whichever you can make a story for this any way you want. Fed leaders are fleeing. Well, yeah, Rosengren and Kaplan are, well, because one of them is a criminal and the other one, who knows? They're all criminals. Okay. I got news for you. Okay. Just a side note. I believe that Paul Ryan, okay, who was the leader, right? It had worries about something that he did, and he felt that Trump was going to expose everybody in his second term, which he never got. But I think that was his plan, and I think he smelled it ahead of time and ran away so that he wasn't under that microscope. But we'll see. In the meantime, lumber, you don't trade it. It's not. Listen, what they trade, 12 contracts today, 58 contracts today. So it's untradeable, but it is a bellwether basic on the actual economy. Okay. And it doesn't look very good. Nat gas, look at that. Now it's funny because I did the update today and it was about 5:30. And I said, well, it looks like they're going to take the 570 out. I had no idea it was going to be today. Okay. But this is exploding.
649.30 is the target.
Now, interesting enough, Andy, what do you make of the real light volume? What's your take there?
Yeah, very light volume today. I think that some of the longs were chased out, when the thing corrected from 570 down to 470. They didn't come back. I think that people are afraid to short this thing. And I think there's a lot of people staying on the sidelines and saying, oh, this is a freak show.
Perry, I agree with you. Listen, I'll give you my view here. I think, as a floor trader, which I was for over 25 years, this is when the floor traders, we would walk out of the pit. Okay. When you knew they were going to go one direction or the other, you just let them do their thing and then you'd come in and pick up the pieces later. And I think that the guys the traders of natural gas know that they're going to push it to Pluto and they're going to squeeze the stuffing out of people. And they're going to let it
go. The natural gas, very liquid market in the physical market. The volatility has destroyed the ability to really hedge because of, if you're a producer, you're going in there, you're getting smacked with margin calls like nobody's tomorrow. So I think they've just said, oh, forget the futures arena for now.
Mr. My personal flying captain from Missouri, give me what's going on in the coal and natural gas, because I know he deals in this stuff. He's involved in it on a daily basis. And I know that in Europe, the prices are in the stratosphere. Okay. But here we go. We have global energy crisis underway in the Northern Hemisphere that has lost its elasticity in LNG and coal. Europe is at $30 BTU and coal is bid 200 plus for October.
Right. Coal's been just rocketing. Highest price since 2008.
But wait, we don't use coal here anymore. It's a pollutant.
China and India.
Oh,
I'll be right back. Bob, I'll be right back.
All right, good. I forget about that. Okay. In the meantime, natural gas, 540 support if you can get it there, and who knows where it's going. Okay. We've been long natural gas forever. We've been long, in fact, on this particular roll, we've been long natural gas since 425. Okay, so you can figure that out. Okay, it's a huge victory. OJ, look, it's in this same type of range. We're long. I don't see it changing so fast, but it is, again, if it breaks below 135, I'd be looking for a potential change. Platinum, this hit a great bounce from the bottom, okay, which created a blow off on a daily. Okay, now here it is settling, which is about where it should at about 980. Now again, platinum has been the weak sister over all of them the entire time. Okay, and if you go back, you can see it was down at 600. Okay, so it still could go a lot lower. I'm not telling it will. Actually, the truth is, if we did trade it, we'd be long it here. Okay, but we don't trade it because it's not liquid enough for us. Sugar, again, as in many of the other softs, they had such big rallies. Okay, and we've been long. Okay, that you might be seeing the change. Okay, and this is certainly not a bullish looking pattern at the moment. Okay, for now we're still long. Again, obviously, I won't run anything till overnight. We don't do anything until the markets settle, and then overnight. So if there's anything that changes, it'll be tomorrow. But I don't know if it will or not. But certainly, as I look at the pattern, it's either on the bottom end of a congestion range or consolidation. Okay, or it's going to break down. Okay, I would see there's a lot of support somewhere around the 1840, 1850 as well. So we'll see. Silver, which we are still short.
Sorry.
It took out. That's all right. It took out the flash crash lows, and now it's hovering at that area. Notice how it's churning right here. Okay, still pretty ugly. Okay, this is just a new little downtrend within a bigger downtrend. Now, again, can it reverse it? Sure can. I don't know where it's going from here, but certainly the trend is certainly down. We've been short silver forever. Okay, and it looks to me that we're going still lower. Okay, and Mr. Silver, what do you say?
And it looks ugly. Silver looks very ugly here. It just does. It can't get out of its own way. 2109.5 is my target on the downside.
Right. Well, that makes sense. So it looks to me right now 22 to 23, but we're not buyers. So again, let's see. We still burn 600 million tons of coal here in the U.S. and there is no coal to buy. Europe still uses 120 tons of coal a year, and there is no coal to buy. The Russians are sold on both in storage and well below the 5-year average. This time, GDP is falling fast in China, Europe, and the U.S. hang on to your heads.
By the way, the Cheniere CEO said like about a month ago that he's sold out of LNG for 20 years on contract.
Yeah, it's a good thing that we have an overabundance here, but we don't want to get it.
Oh, we can't fracture. One more fracture.
Wow, it's a wonderful experience. Okay, and of course,
it'll be a very cold winter.
We'll be burning our furniture like he did in and what was the movie? Christmas Carol.
It'll be warm in the White House.
Yeah, you bet it'll be warm. Of course, he doesn't live there anyways. He lives in Delaware. He's flying back and forth.
It'll be warm in Delaware.
No kidding. So bonds, the 30-year, we reversed the 10. We had not reversed the 30 yet, but my guess is it's coming, possibly tomorrow. Okay.
They look, like I said before, Bubba, I think the vigilantes are back and they're pushing.
Yeah, and I think they can do a big job. And I think that, again, 160 is probably the must-hold level. If it is, it's like 160 to 162.
Yeah, I see a move down to below 154 here.
I can see that too. I think once it breaks, I think we're gonna rock it here and make some cash. Okay.
You're going to see volatility. By the way, you're going to see volatility in the bond market tomorrow because Powell is going before Congress tomorrow. They're going to beat him up.
Oh, is that Humphrey Hawkins?
I think it's Humphrey Hawkins, but they're going to beat him. They're going to beat him on these guys who are leaving.
Yeah, I know. They'll beat him on everything. They'll waste another billion.
They're going to beat him on climate change, and they're going to beat him on social equity, and that's what they're going to do. That's what they do. It's their grandstand because it's on TV.
Yeah, I wish they'd
They put
stop
on
that.
their tax the rich dress for this testimony.
Yeah, tax the rich. So let's tax the rich so there's nobody who pays any taxes. Corn, nice rally today, but again, one day does not make a market. To me, this is still 520 to 540. If we get over 540, I think you got something cooking. Okay.
Don't forget, we're in harvest season now. It's
But the trend is still down for the moment. Okay. Grains have been a real pain in our tuchus, but we'll see what happens here. Soybeans, look, they gave up. They were up much higher earlier, and they gave up the gains. And again, $13 in soybeans. To me, these are like $12.60 to $13. Okay, and again, we're still short, and it's certainly warranted. Okay, and wheat, okay, which was higher and lower. It was really, as you can see by the candle, it was pretty much unchanged almost all day long. I think 730 is the key number in wheat to the upside, and we'll see if we can get up there or it's going to break back down. This is a little bit more bullish formation than the others. You got kind of what they call the W, okay, not for Bush, okay, but it is a little bit of a W, so it could be some action. But in the meantime, we are short across the board for now. And until they change, that's the position. And I'm going to go in my electric car and stay warm. Yeah, but the power grid's not good enough. It isn't solid enough to handle it. So, as we get ready to move to call number 2, sir, any thoughts on the commodity space in general, on the softs? Anything you're thinking here?
Listen, over the last, natural gas still has the bullish baton. Cotton took it in the softs. Uranium prices roared recently. We're still seeing this bullish relay race go on. Oil looks like it's going to get it back. It goes from one to the other, and it's continuing. It's not continuing. So I still like the whole space as an asset class, and it's just a commentary that fiat currencies are losing value.
No, I mean, we continue to, watch this ridiculous administration with the way they whacked everything. And again, you have to, you have to be able to set a time to exit these things. You can't just ad hoc say goodbye. That's what they did. That's what Obama did with the coal industry, back in, in 10 or 11 or 9, whatever it was. I just put them out of business. And the problem is he put all of the workers out of business, and they were not educated for anything else. And that's always a problem. I mean, you have to let these people get an education onto something else so they can actually work and function. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly right. So we put how many people out of work at the Keystone Pipeline and in Alaska at the pipelines, and where they're fracking, and it's
we can thank them for our higher prices in Vegas for them too. Okay.
Yeah.
What is gas in Vegas today, by the way?
I haven't filled up lately, but it's a little under $4.
Okay. All right. Good. I'm coming back next week, so I got to, unfortunately, I got a full tank. I got at Speedway, but
I remember I was with you.
I know we were on our way to Popeyes. That has no help,
Right.
And they had to close their dining room, which
Right.
is so. What's your take on stagflation? That's my last question in this part of the session.
And my take is we're going to have some kind of inflation. It's either going to be in or stag. It depends. I mean, with this administration, they're not doing anything to prop up the economy. So, it's very likely that we'll have some problems. But still, it's a different kind of inflation. Maybe it's a different inflation because you have 11 million job openings, 9 million unemployed, but those 9 million don't want the jobs.
Right, because they want the free money that they're getting.
Right. So what's, and then, hey, rent moratoriums, we're going to extend them, and, we're going to let everyone in through the borders. And this is maybe we're getting maybe we need a new term, a different kind of term. And Biden inflation. And
the real amazing thing about the rent, okay, is screw the landlords, screw the small business owners who own those buildings. What are they supposed to live on? Okay. So
Okay, well, they screw them until they don't pay their property taxes, and then
naturally, well, then they'll take the property away. It's a wonderful look. It's a
well,
wonderful,
that's good, and that's socialism. Then the government owns the land, and they'll let everyone live there for free.
and Bill Gates and couldn't be happier. Okay, so, anyways, all right. That'll do it for the pregame. We will be right back in 2 seconds with the actual call. Let me stop this recording. Let my girlfriend talk to me for a minute. Hold on. Okay, and now let's go back to recording number 2. Okay, anyways, of course, welcome. This is the Monday Night Call that has morphed into a lot more, but in the meantime, China, hear no evil, see no evil, and talk no evil, right? I mean, that's, as their 100-year plan is taking shape and they continue to grind out everything, okay, and manipulate everything. Again, I couldn't think of a better cartoon for today. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. China's China's got a lot of problems, but
they got a lot of problems, but they don't really care because at the end, their 100-year plan is playing out and they're destroying everything in their way, in my opinion.
Right. And you know what? They can have a debt collapse with Evergrande, and they'll say, so what?
Right. Exactly. Because, what do they care?
And you know what? In a way, it feeds into them because they could say, hey, all the investors who put money in China, sorry, your investment's worth nothing. We own it now.
That's right. And of course, they're so good with human rights there too. But, God forbid anybody in this country to ever talk about it, they'd be fired. But anyways, on to the good news of the week. The U.S. wins the Ryder Cup. I mean, if you're a golf fan or if you watched it, there wasn't anything more exciting than watching these guys whip the crap out of them and play for the first time in my lifetime as a team, okay, and really grind out. Okay,
that was pretty good. Also, the Yankees did a good job last.
But screw the Yankees. This is the U.S. So I don't care about the Yankees.
I care about that Yankees.
I bet them. But in the meantime, I'm just saying that this was a great event, and I only got screwed because I had Sergio to have the most points in Europe, and he missed by a half a point. He had to beat Bryson yesterday, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Hey, one other thing, sports related, Bubba.
Yo,
the Bears passed total passing yesterday 1 yard. I think it's a record.
How about there was more sacks than completed passes?
47 yards of total offense. How's that?
Well, you got Nagy. He's a great coach. He's an idiot. But anyways, okay. So the Ryder Cup was unbelievable, and I mean, listen, every Sunday I watch football with my son. We got fantasy. We got multiple TVs going, and I had the sound down in the Ryder Cup, but I wanted to have it up. And he said, "Can we listen to this?" I said, "Well, I would. I know you like football, but this is every 2 years. This is like unbelievably exciting as they were knocking shot down after shot. In the meantime, Colin Morikawa, they got some special talent coming up too. That's really cool. In the meantime, Vegas, the registration will be ending shortly. I'll send an email, and this week I will send out the information on how to get your hotel room. We've got rooms locked up, so again, there's no big deal. Okay, and again, for those who are coming, I will send out the link this week to get to guarantee your room. But I've got enough rooms guaranteed to begin with, so we're all good. And did you know the market is always right? You can argue with it all you want, but it's a fact. Okay, look, at the end of the day, the market today, the Russell was up 300, the Nasdaq was down 140. So if you were short the Russell and long the Nasdaq, wasn't a very good day for you. Okay, and you can say that the market was wrong, but at the end of the day, you're busted and the market's over and it's on to the next day. So, and Andy will tell you, we both hated it. People that worked for us would tell us that the market is wrong because, of course, that's how you lose a lot of money when you tell the market that it's wrong, right, sir?
Exactly. It's the worst. That's the worst sin.
So, in the meantime, as I always give you what I'm thinking, and despite last week's rally, I think the market still looks to be in trouble. Okay, we had last Monday was like I'm not going to say capitulation, but it was a heavy selling Friday into Monday, and Monday was down, and with very little recovery. And of course, once Tuesday came, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were came up boxcars. The markets rallied, and of course, even with today's action, I don't really see it. But again, I'm not going to predict it. My positions are exactly as I tell you they are, based on what the algorithm is. But I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see a big move. The Fed is ignorant and stuck in a box that they created. And look, I've never liked the Fed. Okay. I think they do a horseshit job. I think that they don't think, they have zero common sense, in my opinion. Okay. And they have no understanding of how a market really works. They know what their models say should happen. But we all know that models and plans have to be changed to according to what's going on in the world or in that environment. Any thought there, sir?
No, I mean, it's absolutely right. Stuck in a box. They
So-
created it. And by the way, like I said in the pregame, every 25 basis point rise is going to be 75 billion. You do 5 of them, it's a lot of money in debt service. They can't do it.
Right. Well, that's the problem that they created, and they're going to have to make some adjustment somewhere, but they
And
won't.
by the way, when they make the adjustments, it's going to cost a lot.
They won't do anything anyway. What's the difference? Listen, this has been going on.
Kick the can.
This has been going on as long as you and I are alive.
Kick the can.
So, okay, how close is inflation? I won't use stagflation. I already asked you, but
There's inflation.
inflation is ridiculous. I told you last week, a container from China to the States, and if you can get it, okay, because they're sitting in Long Beach in the harbor and they're sitting in New Jersey in the harbor, they can't get them anyways. But they're 25,000 versus 2. Okay, you think that Walmart's going to pay that bill? Okay, or are we going to pay that bill? Okay,
No, it'll be like Russia. The shelves will be empty.
and nobody working. That is stagflation. Employment plus inflation. Okay, and whether it's because we can't employ people or because they won't go to work, you have too many people depending on the government to live on. Okay, which is another story and brutal. Okay, I don't understand it. I mean, get a job. Okay, as I said, and get kicked off of RTTV, that's Bart's channel. I said, tell them to get off their lazy ass and get a job. Then we won't have you.
They get paid more staying at home.
No, so
People make wise economic decisions. If you have to bust your tushy and and work like a dog, or you stay at home and you get paid the same, what are you going to do? It's stupid. Why should you kill yourself?
well, but that again, that's obviously that's the first stage of universal basic income. And I say my prediction is the markets are going to make a 20 to 25% move in the fourth quarter. Okay, that's a pretty big statement, but again, and I don't think it can be higher. Now it could be. Again, I am not going to fade or go against what the algorithms tell me to do, but in my views, we got a really big move coming. Okay,
I think so.
What's that, man?
Not a question of if, question of when.
And I think that the action is really indicating, that there is something huge coming. Okay. And I don't know what'll be the trigger. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's been so many warning signs that we don't pay attention to because nobody pays attention. Let's face it. Americans are lazy. Okay. We don't, as long as the status quo is good and I can make the monthly payment, I'm happy. Okay. So I do see a very big move coming, and I can't imagine it could be up. Now I could be wrong. So again, but I will say that we're at what are we at now? 30, let's say $35,000. I think we'll be 20% up above it or below it at the end of the year. That's my opinion. Okay. In the meantime, the call really doesn't start until Connie's words of wisdom. And of course, if you don't have time for things that matter, stop doing the things that don't. Now, Connie, as you always come along with, you have the right the right words of wisdom at the right time. Okay. I mean, why do we continue to waste time on things that don't matter? It doesn't make sense. It's like the same question we ask is, why is there always enough time to do it over, but never enough time to do it right in the first place? Okay. Hence our government. Okay. But hey, that is spot on. And as always, nailed it. Okay. And of course, Connie's new category, the State of the Union. It is better to walk alone than with a crowd going in the wrong direction. Okay. And I think we're going to start seeing more of this. And especially, Andy, I think if the tax plan gets approved, okay, I think there could be some many people walking against the masses. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the tax thing is going to be, that's a line in the sand, Bubba. The tax thing is a line in the sand, and how aggressive they go is going to be very critical. It's going to be very critical. And listen, a lot of the natural buy, they're going to, if they go after the tax deferred accounts, if they go after the corporations, there's going to be less buybacks. There's going to be all kinds of issues that they're not considering when they're pondering this.
But they don't really care. I mean, the bottom line is that all they care about is lining their own pockets.
But what they care about is getting reelected.
Well, yeah, which is lining their own pockets. So I skipped a step. Yes, that's correct.
Right. So it's going to be it's going to be very interesting. I think there's going to be some compromise. I think he's going to throw Powell to the wolves.
Okay.
And, I think that they're going to say, the inertia is there towards the socialist state. And then I think that you're going to get a big reaction at the voting booth in 2022. That's what I
agree. I can concur. In the meantime, I've been bitching for over an hour, but I get one more in, and this is the last one. And of course, the SEC, government, and central banks on trying to control crypto. They can't stand that it's an asset class that they cannot control. Okay. And Gensler is just as bad and guilty as the rest of them, your buddy. Okay. I mean, these guys are not just like Gary Cohn when he was in Trump's office. He didn't have America's best interest at heart. He had his own best interest. Okay. And what worked for him. Okay. I don't care what anybody says, and you can disagree with me, but to me, they're all full of crap, and they don't want to release the control to let these cryptos trade freely, just like they don't want the markets themselves to trade freely. And to me, that's a bigger problem than anything when they continue to try to control everything without allowing the markets to price their asset classes by themselves. Okay.
Bubba, you're right about the US government. The one thing I will tell you is that while we have tremendous disagreements between the US and Europe, the US and China, the US and Russia, the US and Iran, the one place they all agree is on cryptos.
Yeah, because they're all central banks.
Right. They're all control. It's control of the money supply. Where, when you're raising your kids, when your kids are teenagers, how do you control your kids? Through the money you give them, How do you control? It's the purse strings. It's the purse strings. That's one of the main routes to control. And they are not giving it up so easy. And what they're doing now is they're firing some regulatory missiles. You had the Treasury fire one at that Suex exchange last week because of the hacking. You had the SEC tell Coinbase you're not allowed to put this new Lend product out.
And Coinbase went after them and lost, but you're right.
Right. They're gonna lose because they're gonna lose on every count because the courts are political.
Right.
The judges are political appointees. The bottom line is, you ever remember, don't screw with Mother Nature?
Yeah.
You're screwing with the government here. The government's controlling the money supply. I mean, look, you could do a lot of things with the government and you could win cases against the government, no question, in certain things. But when it comes to control of money, this is a very, very steep hill to climb.
And of course, to our last comment, nope, nothing's going to change in 2022 unless they change the Dominion voting machines.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
By
the way, they don't even have to change the voting machines. They could do it legitimately because how many millions of people are coming into the country that are going to be able to vote?
Right. Well, why would they want to legitimate? They would lose their edge. Okay. Election fraud has gone on for at least 50 years, if not longer. Okay. But
70 years, because that's how Nixon lost to Kennedy.
No. Right. I mean, that was the Giancanas.
1960.
So
yeah.
Anyways, whatever, I don't disagree, but I do believe there'll be something that's going to happen long before we get there, because I can
only push people so far.
I can see that people are getting ready to explode. Okay. And we'll see. Again, I'm not predicting anything, but I could certainly see a major problem, and I could see some very nasty things happening in the next 14 months. Okay. In the meantime, the Dow. Okay. Yankee Michael. Now, we remain long. Excuse me. My apologies. We're short the Dow. Okay. And of course, it was up a little bit today, but it was up much more. It was up big and kind of failed. And look where it failed from, right at the resistance level of which you would have expected it to fail from. Okay. I think this is one of the things you got to remember is that's why we look at these markets, okay, the way we do, because again, the pattern suggested that it would have been a failure from that point, and certainly enough, it was. Now again, what is it going to do tomorrow? We'll see. But it did go down and made a low at 33.6. Okay. I would say this is, about 1,000 point range, 1,100 point range. And you may think that's a lot of action, but indeed it really is not, because again, the size of the index in which we are trading is so much bigger. This is not 1980 when the Dow was under 1,000. When I started, the Dow was under 1,000. Okay. So in the meantime, for my money, I would call this 33.6 to 34.8. Okay. And I would look to be, barring a signal change, I would look to be a seller. Okay. The S&P, which we are long, okay, Echo Sierra, and it was not anywhere near as strong, and it did fail right where we thought were one of the levels we gave last week. Okay. Now, again, it is still coming off the bottom. It is still much better looking than the Dow itself. Okay. So, and of course, we know the components are similar, but I would say this is probably, 43.50 to 44.50, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay. The Nasdaq, which got clobbered today. Okay. But in the bigger scheme of things, it didn't take out the lows from last week. Okay. Think about it. Okay. You've got probably some support at 14,993, 14,990, 15,000. Okay. To me, this looks right now, looking at it now, we're so long. That's number one. Okay. The Nasdaq. Number two, I would say probably, 14.9 to 15.4. Okay. Let's see what happens. Again, I think the big key will be, what does tomorrow bring? Okay. And the Russell, which we are short, again, is in this most miserable pattern of consolidation. And, we were looking at, 23.20 on the upside, 21.60 on the downside. I mean, look, what can I tell you? This is by far, as a trend trading firm, this is the worst pattern you could ever ask for. You could not ask for worse than this for the last 10 months for sure. Okay. So, those are the markets we're looking at. Of course, did we do crude? I don't think so. I don't remember. Connie, did we do crude?
I think we did it at the very beginning.
I thought so, but I don't know if I gave her levels. That's why I'm asking. No, okay. You don't have to yell at me. I said I thought about it. I thought about you when I asked.
What about that?
I asked nicely. Okay. And crude, we're still long crude, and now I would probably say it looks like supported about 74. Resistance, probably around 77. But right now, it shows no signs of weakening. Now, that doesn't mean it won't, but between the administration, between everything going on, it is showing zero signs of weakening. Okay. And it looks like it just wants to, I think Andy and I both agree it's going to 100.
Yeah. I mean, seasonality is not with it right now, but that doesn't matter.
What do they care? Again, it's a crappy policy, okay, run by imbeciles that could care less about the country itself, okay, and only care about some ridiculous ideas that can give them and let them steal some more cash. Okay. So in the meantime, as we move on to the stock market, okay, Apple, okay, Alpha Papa Lima, and of course, we are still short Apple. Okay, it had a little bit of a pop, which we actually said 147. Okay, and to me, this is a 140 to 147 or 145. Now again, can it reverse? Sure, it can. Okay, but in the meantime, it doesn't overall look that good. It looks like it has room to work on the downside. And again, there's a lot of things in the works that could change the trends to be drastically lower. Okay, the tax plan, other things like that, we'll see. I mean, to me, there is issues abounding out there that can certainly create some selling panic. In the meantime, 140 to 147. Okay. AMD Alpha Michael Delta, which we are still short as well. A little bit of a pop, and look where it went to, right to where we thought was some resistance, 108. Okay. You know, again, I look at this as 100 to 108. You know, still, you know, in a virtual downtrend. Now, again, you're seeing some potential change, but I don't see anything to get excited about yet. Okay. This is still, you know, virtually, you know, pretty nasty overall. So I would suspect that it stays the same. Bravo Alpha. You know, last week we talked, we said, well, there'll probably be some little bit of a bounce. And of course, over the weekend, we added a couple of trades, which, you know, kind of took China into consideration. One was BABA, and it popped up today, you know, about $5. What does it mean? Nothing. It really just got to what resistance would be, right? 150. Okay. I would say this is probably 140 to 150. Okay. And, you know, you will get, there's always going to be some firms and some money that's going to flow when asset prices in places like China get so depressed. Okay. And people think that they can steal them or they're buying them cheap. They're going to look to be a buyer.
Yeah, well, that's going to be short covering.
Well, one of the two, right? So it's not a surprise. You know, what you want to look for is the opportunity of where is your sell spot. And right now, although the chart is 140, 150, you know, remember these, especially a stock like BABA, can accelerate just a little bit farther. I would be looking, I probably wouldn't want it. We are short. Okay. And we've been short since 215. Okay. But I would not be looking to reshort this unless it popped to like 160. Okay. On a quick pop. I would like if it pops tomorrow to 160, I'll be a participant on the other side. Okay. In the meantime, for here, 140 to 150. Okay. BitQ, Bravo, India, Tango, Quebec. Ugh. Do I have to look at this again? I'm just kidding. You know, look, it's Bitcoin soup, as my partner likes to call it. Bitcoin has been under some duress and pressure. Well, what do you think this is going to do? It's going to be under some duress and some pressure. I mean, if you look at the calculation, Bitcoin is down almost 20%. This is down 20%. Okay. Now, again, the only reason we show this is because for those of you who may want to play in the Bitcoin space, okay, or the crypto world, this is pretty good. Okay. And this has, what your risk is when you put it on. Okay. And you can buy what you can afford to lose. Okay. I mean, to me, this is 22 to 24 still, which is what we said last week. Andy, any comments here?
I mean, it's look, this is going to follow Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the leader. And right now, the regulators have it in their crosshairs.
Yes. Okay. And of course,
and that's not bullish.
No, it could be. It could actually be. It could be the reverse of the reverse, right?
So you think they're going to be the Bitcoin vigilantes we'll be talking about?
I wouldn't be surprised to say the truth. In the meantime, CGC, Charlie Golf Charlie. Now we're short this, okay, and have been so for quite a while. But you did see some excitement. Okay, Andy, can you take over 1 second, please?
Sure. I mean, you saw some excitement today. Where the price go up to like 1480 or so, but the trend is still lower. I mean, there's no question about it. And as Bubba and I have been saying, that the only reason to really buy these stocks
gamble
is a gamble on U.S. policy to make the federal legalize it on a federal basis. Until they do that, these stocks do not have a big upside.
Now, they have had the last couple of days a little bit of action, and there might be something in the works. I mean, the real problem with it is it's too logical, okay, for the Fed to do it, okay? But it makes sense.
Well, it's not the Fed, yeah, the federal government, yeah.
The revenue that they would create from this would be unbelievable. In the meantime, I don't typically set levels here, and I won't here either. I'm going to say the same thing I say every week. If you want to gamble on pot being legalized, this is one of 3 spots that we are recommending, okay? But you are gambling, okay? There is no, if you're a fundamental play, there is no fundamentals behind this. Technically, it's in a downtrend. So you are strictly saying, okay, I'm going to gamble. Okay.
And don't think that these stocks can run out of money and they can go bankrupt. The cash burn in these companies is big. The longer they wait, the longer the federal government waits to legalize this stuff, the more these companies bleed. So, don't say, just because it's $14 and it was up at 60. It's cheap. It's not cheap. What's
Right.
cheap gets cheaper. What's expensive gets more expensive.
Cheap is only compared to what the industry is, and that's it. Okay.
Cheap is a sheep.
You know, and somebody said Schumer's, yeah, but Schumer, the day they made the big announcement about Schumer, it went nowhere. In fact, it went down. So Schumer can push all he wants. I think he's full of crap anyways.
Schumer's afraid that the AOC is going to run against him.
No, and I don't think he's really pushing it, to tell you the truth. I think if they were really pushing it, they could get it through. Okay. So we'll see. In the meantime, again, gamble only. Chewy, Charlie Whiskey, Hotel Yankee. Okay. Now we are short this. Okay. And, you know, it had a little bit of a pop, but again, once again, it's breaking down. Now, you know, Andy and I both like this and own it in our long-term portfolios. I think it's a good company. Listen, I use them. I'm a customer.
Right.
Okay. But the trend is certainly ugly, and certainly it looks like it has room to work its way lower. I mean, certainly it would not.
No, I read a very sad story about I read a story that a lot of people who took on pets during the pandemic are now giving them to shelters because they're going back to work, which made me very sad. And maybe that's what's weighing on this stock.
It is very sad. I mean, you know, again, pets, you know,
that's commitment. You know,
pets are better than most people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I live in the murder capital world. An 18-year-old girl got killed sitting in the car, you know, and not a bad neighborhood the other day. Okay. Anyways, to me, this is a 64-72. Coin, which is Coinbase, Charlie Oscar, India, November. You know, look, this is another play in Bitcoin. It's obviously it's a much bigger play than $20, but it's hedgeable. It's got options. It's something that if you believe in it for the long haul, you can buy and hedge. In the meantime, it looks pretty nasty. Now we don't trade this in the portfolio; it's a little bit too big, but it is, you know, trending lower. It looks like, you know, we're back to the same 220 to 240, 250 area. So
let's see if it makes another higher low. You know, we've made two higher lows already. Let's see if it makes another higher low.
220 to 240 would be what I'd be looking at right now. Okay. Now this one I recommended on the Liz Feynman show on Friday. Curl up, Charlie Uniform, Romeo Lima Foxtrot. Okay. Was up much higher, came back. But again, some of the price action we're now seeing in some of these suggests that something might be going on. Now, again, it does not confirm, okay, but it does suggest that there may be some activity in the government, because the only thing that's going to drive these things now is federal approval.
Right. And, you know, you also know that, you know, if there is action in the federal government, they're in there buying it hand over fist.
Yeah, naturally. What do you think? Okay. You know, I have no doubt. Okay. But so, yeah, because there is no.
It's a Massachusetts company, so Senator Markey and Senator Warren are probably buying this stock hand over fist.
I mean, I'm assuming, and I'm going to look real quick, but I'm assuming these companies are all getting creamed and losing their, you know what?
Oh, they are. They're burning cash.
Let's see here. Let me see. Curl Up's only got a P of a negative 102.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look at its last earnings on the chart. You'll see.
No, I know. Listen, I understand. I'm just saying that. So to me, there may be something brewing underneath the surface. There's nothing you can do. It's the same thing. It's a gamble, and this doesn't have options either. So it's a bigger gamble. You got to take the stock. Okay. And DraftKings. Okay. Delta Kilo November Golf. Been kind of quiet, and it obviously very ugly since 64. As it has broken down a little bit, and of course we're shorted. Now I'm long it personally, you know, in my hedging account.
It's all mine.
Okay. And he owns it. I mean, to me, this is back to 50 to 54. Okay, but again, if you're playing the trend, you're not going to be long in here. If you're hedging it, that's fine. Okay, that's what you got to remember. There are different things you're doing with different types of trades. In the meantime, this is 50 to 54, and it's surprising because when you hear the numbers that they are producing, okay, in these casinos and in these online sports apps, and they don't have California or New York yet, and they are making billions. Okay, but again, that's why the market is always right. 50 to 54. Okay, Fast Foxtrot Alpha Sierra. Okay, and we did reverse that to long. Okay, and here we are back at the top end of this range. You've seen the banks, okay, which are the banks reacting, Andy, to the potential Fed tapering and higher interest rates?
The banks are counting on they're counting on
Powell
Powell's
being-
reappointment.
They're counting on Powell being
But
reappointed.
aren't they really betting on higher interest rates? I mean,
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen. When they start raising the Fed funds rate, the spread for the banks goes up. They
right, they make more money.
Right. But they might get a surprise from Biden. They might.
Yeah, not a good surprise either. In the meantime, 120 to 130 would be the levels here. We wouldn't be sellers yet. Okay. Facebook.
By the way, if you start seeing the financial stocks come off, maybe the administration give them a wink and a nod.
It could be. Okay. Facebook, we are short. And of course, it tumbled pretty good and it did bounce nicely off of about 340. I would say to you that this is 340 to 360. Okay. And I think one thing that I remember now is we are going to be coming back into earnings season in a few weeks. Okay. So again, what are these earnings going to be? I have no idea. And if I erase all this, basically what you really have in Facebook is just 340 to 380 consolidation.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you look at it, that's what you got.
And don't forget, for the rest of this week, don't forget, on Thursday, you're going to see window dressing for the end of the quarter. That's a guarantee.
Are you guaranteeing that it's not already been done?
I would say that they.
Okay. I mean, again, I would never make that guarantee.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, I'll take that back.
I'm not looking.
The odds favor window dressing on Thursday because a lot of fund managers, a lot of mutual fund managers, they get paid on the quarterly.
Yep.
They show their results on the quarterly, and they like to mark their books to market.
Yeah, they want to get paid. They don't care about you.
Right. So expect it, and then expect something Friday. The market tend to go the other way.
First Solar, Foxtrot, Sierra Lima Romeo. We're short this. Had a little pop today, but it is down obviously from 108. Okay, it looks to me 90 to 97.50 or 97. Either one, it's okay. I don't usually use 50 cents. Okay, 90 to 97. I'd like to be a seller at some point. Okay. I would have liked to have seen some more volume in here today because obviously I would like to see it create a blow off. It did not. But 90 to 97, GDX. Oh, yeah. There is no bottom for the miners. They continue to get thrashed and hashed and cashed. And
you have to remember one thing about the gold miners and the silver miners. They outperform on the upside and they underperform on the downside. And as they're underperforming, they give a signal, and it's another bearish signal for gold.
Right. And that would be, something that we would be potentially looking at. This is another potential bearish signal for gold.
Yeah.
We haven't really done much here, and certainly we're not going to do anything now. Right now, for today, I would say still 31 is resistance, maybe even 30 now. This doesn't move exactly at a swift pace. Okay. But I would not be a buyer of this until the trend changes. And if I were going to trade
and notice that this has made a significantly lower low than the flash crash low.
Right.
Significantly. But then again, the flash crash low happened on the Sunday night. And, this thing only trades when U.S. stock market hours are over. So it's not a great comparison, but it is a comparison that's worth looking at.
Correct. You are on spot on. And Goldman Sachs, okay, is bounced a couple of days in a row here. And again, this is directly tied to, as Andy's been saying, Chair Powell being reelected or being reappointed, not reelected, reappointed.
They'll make money either way.
Well, they always do. But a lot of this has to do with the prospect of higher interest rates. And of course, Powell staying in office. Nobody who's done well likes change. Okay. And of course, Goldman, we are short, but I would suspect that might be changing. Okay. But for today, 390 to 410. Okay.
And by the way, the fact that Goldman Sachs, Wall Street, and Janet Yellen all want
Powell reappointed is probably very negative for a reappointment, because the progressives are like hell bent on getting them out.
Right.
And if you watch the testimony tomorrow, watch when he's questioned by members of the squad.
AOC.
They will take him down tomorrow. They will look to, listen, I thought that in the press conference, he said everything that he had to say, and everything he said kind of made sense. Hey, inflation, we got to kind of move towards tightening a little bit. It all made sense. The bottom line is, when he sung that hawkish song, he buried himself with the administration. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. Again, the question is will the majority, which depends on money from Goldman Sachs for campaign donations and all kind of thing, will they, stand up to them, knowing that it will cost them their donations?
No, they won't. They won't, because they'll go along with it.
So that's.
And by the way, they'll make money on the other hand, because, all right, so maybe they have the wrong positions on for the short term, but at the end of the day, it'll be more asset inflation, higher prices, more liquidity, and continuation of this bullish party that's been going on since March 2020.
IWM, India Whiskey Michael. Okay, we are short this, and same as the Russell itself. It is just in this miserable phase of congestion. Okay, so for today, we'll say 224 to 228. Now it's a very narrow range, but again, remember that certain assets move faster than others, and with once again the shrinking volatility, these don't move as much. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, even with today's big move up, it was only up, $2.50. Okay, so Mara, one of the Bitcoin plays we play with, and of course we were watching it 30 to 35, and here we are right at the top end of 35, and it actually held up fairly well, with what's going on in the crypto space. I think that probably, now we don't track this in any of our portfolios, but I would say, more than likely, since we are short Bitcoin, I'd like to be a seller of this. And, it's up. Why is it up after the close? That's interesting. It's trading at 36.29 afterwards, $1 higher. Interesting. Okay. With Bitcoin lower. Bitcoin fell apart late in the session. In the meantime, I would look for a spot to sell. And I'd probably look today at, 39 or so. Okay. I got my Mara expert here. What do you say, Colonel?
Who?
Now, I got a colonel here that trades Mara. Says it's like printing money. Okay. So I want to get their take. And in the meantime, I would take this is probably 34 to 39. Okay. NEO, another Chinese company, got a little bit of a bounce today. Not a surprise. Okay. Still ugly. We're still shorted. Okay. And I would say that it's still 34 to 38, which has not changed. Okay. And Nugget, November Uniform Golf Tango, another a minor on steroids.
Yuck.
Again, continues to get hammered. Okay. And they're going to take this down far enough, they'll have to reverse split it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's no spot to buy this yet. I mean, if anything, you want to be a seller at about 45. Okay. And I'm not telling you to go out and sell it at 45, but certainly that's what I'd be looking for. Okay. Nvidia, November Victor Delta Alpha, continues to chop around, towards some support. We are now short in Nvidia. Okay. And I would say that, it's probably 210 to 225. Okay. And I would suspect that, rally should be sold here. To me, it looks like it wants to break to the downside. Okay. So again, we'll see. But I mean, overall, if you just look at the view you have, lower highs and lower lows is not usually too healthy. Okay. Penn, nice little pop today, but really stuck in nowhere land. Actually, now, as Andy calls it, the bullish baton. After Penn reached 65, it took over the baton, and when DraftKings reached 65, it went negative.
Yeah.
So, they're both similar companies. Both their bread and butter in both is the gambling apps. Okay. Penn is with horse racing and the gambling app. and they're tied to Barstool. And of course, DraftKings is fantasy and gambling, and they're both numbers are unbelievable. It's hard to imagine that these stocks have not popped, but in the meantime, they're kind of stuck waiting in a range. And I think that if this continues, gambling's only getting bigger. Okay, so, but for now, okay, we are short this, and I would say probably 80, and I would say probably 70 to 80 for today, 70 to 80. Okay. But I would not be a buyer until, of course, we change. Mara, okay, my resident expert says that Mara and Riot, which we'll get to shortly, are great on the short side right now, and I have a lot of respect for
I don't
the Colonel's
disagree with
opinion.
that. I feel like that Bitcoin is going to feel.
You think it's in trouble? I get it.
I think it's in trouble. I do. I mean, I don't think it's going to zero, but I think it's.
No, I know. You think that for now, because of what's going on, it's got troubles.
Yeah, I think it's just, you know what? It's so funny, Bubba. It's like they're leaking out a story where they're going after it each week, and every time they go after it, it gets smacked. So it just seems coordinated.
They're probably buying it, like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, Bitcoin on poison, rat poison.
Janet Yellen and Gary Gensler are buying Bitcoin.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. Okay. Listen, I put nothing past regulators. Okay. I still say that there was an insider in the SEC with Bernie Madoff, and either he got killed or died, okay, or she, and nobody ever found out. But
they're still there.
He could be. He could not have done what he did without help. Okay. What he did was impossible. In the meantime, the Qs were short, and I would love to be a seller again at 375. Okay. I think this is probably 365 to 375. Okay. And we remain short. Riot, very similar. But again, it's interesting, as I pointed out the last couple of weeks, Riot got to 80, Mara got to 60, and now Mara is over Riot. Okay. Now, what the reasoning, I don't know. But in the meantime, it's really just stuck in consolidation. It hasn't even really moved, okay, in the last week. Okay. It's like still 25 to 30. Okay. Although you could probably make a tighter range, which would make it even harder to trade. Okay. But certainly, based on everything that's going on, you would look for it to possibly go lower from here. Okay. But 25 to 30, Roku, Romeo Oscar Kilo uniform, we remain short. Okay. And it continues, it has found, remember last week we said, is this 320 area going to be some support? Well, it looks like it. Now, consolidation can resolve in a couple of different ways. Either it will find a bottom and then start to rally and reverse to the long side, or it will break down and then continue on the trend that it's in. Okay. And I have every reason to believe that this trend is going to continue. It's going to break to the downside. Roku has had its big burst and got up to, almost 500. Okay. Now is, down into the low threes. And what do you think? Okay. And from your viewpoint.
It's just this looks very ugly to me. I mean, you had an attempt to get back to the 340. It failed. It's, it just looks really weak.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Really so again, right now, I would say 300 to 340 would be the levels I'd be watching. I mean, keep it on to 320 because obviously it's held there. So that's something to keep an eye on. The SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee. Okay, now we got a little bit whipsawed in the SPY, but we're back to the long side here. Okay, again, this looks like it's setting up for a big move. Okay, I don't like the way it looks at all. Okay, but again, I don't argue with what the algorithm says. But again, this pattern actually ties into what I'm talking about with a 20 to 25% move. Okay. In the meantime, for today, I would say 440 support, 450 resistance. But as a long, I won't sell it until we get a reversal again. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's still the gap here, but it's it just doesn't look good, man. It just doesn't look good to me.
No.
And look at the gain for 2021. I could see the news stories. Oh, it gives up all its gain for 2020. I could see it, almost.
I agree with you. I mean, it's funny, but I do agree. And of course, Square Dance, We are still short. And, you know, interesting, this is obviously got some, you know, Dorsey, and I both agree he's a genius, although he's a putz, but, you know, he's got a lot of crypto holdings. And actually, when I look at this is actually held up pretty well based on what their holdings are and what their involvement is in the crypto space.
It's very small, their involvement relative to their market cap, and they have a very good payments business.
Right. No, I know. They got a great.
It's a pimple. It's a small. It's a, you know, he. What did he invest? 170 million. I mean, the market cap of this company is, you know, billions and billions. So
no, I get it. I'm just saying that,
I think it's 2%. So it's not, you know, it's de minimis. You know, he's on the cutting edge. He's a smart guy, and his companies make money.
Yeah. No, listen, I can't take away his brains, although he's a putz. 240 to 260. Okay. Tilray had a little action today. Again, this goes with Curl F and with CGC. I don't assign levels here. We don't trade it. You want to gamble? To me, in my opinion, this is either this or Curl F are the best two to gamble on.
I agree.
The money will pour into the big names, and those are the big names, right?
And since Tilray is not only Canadian, but they bought Aurora, okay, to me, it makes sense that if it does get legalized, they're going to benefit. Okay. So, but again, only gambling, there's no, first of all, it hardly moves. Okay. I mean, it does
Amazing
move.
that this stock was $67 a share in February.
How about this stock was 300 at one time?
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at this year. It's just crazy.
I mean, so, Tango, Quebec. Of course, we're short, and you know, it's you know, continues to, you know, kind of hang. It looks obviously like it's representative of the QQQ. And again, this is also setting up for some kind of movement based on the way I can see it. But for here, you know, 130 to 145, big range. Hold on one second, one more time. Somebody's home, so now finally I want to get and take the dog out.
Yeah, the Qs they look toppy. It's like they look like the S&P to me. It all looks that way. It all looks like when, you know, the correction comes, whatever triggers it, you know. By the way, it could be a bullish piece of news that triggers a correction. You know,
more likely.
By the way, it's going to come out of the blue. That's what you could put in the bank. These corrections, the big corrections come from, and I said, what happened? You know, they
come from left field, and
right.
Usually what happens is what happens, and we might see it now, the failure to make a new high in any of the indexes. And of course, you get to that can't be right idea. And of course, we go back to it is right. Okay. Tesla, which we don't trade, but it did break out, right? We were watching the 760 level, and of course, bang, here it is. Now, this is very bullish now. Look at the action. Okay. And I would say, you know, if you trade this, I do not. Okay. But 760 and probably 840. Okay. You know, you got some room.
Looks like it's doing what it did at the end of last year. Huh?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this looks like it wants to move. So we'll see. The key to be watched will be the 760 area. Okay. And VXX, Victor X-ray. Okay. We did get slightly chopped up, and we made a lot on the first initial short. Okay. We got long for a couple of days. Now we're back short again. Okay. In the meantime, you know, this is, you know, about the 24 level. And the biggest problem with this product itself, okay, and you know, I hate to use it when we're short at these levels because it dribbles lower and it spikes higher. The reason we carry it at all is because of obviously the potential monster move to the upside. Okay, and you know, if we ever get a follow through in volatility, it'll be a massive winner. Okay, in the meantime, it kind of just decays on the way down. It doesn't. Once it breaks early, which it does when they reverse split it, okay, it then dribbles when it gets down, and it should be like a long only product, okay, but we are shorted, okay, and I'd say probably 24 to 28 right now. When after the debacle, this is another one I gave till this came on Friday. I said, you know, first of all, Win has got some great gambling apps ready to go. And this is a small play on China, okay, because of course Macau are the biggest drivers for Wynn and Las Vegas Sands. So I thought that, at this level and the 80 level, was a reasonable buy. Okay. And I think, look, it's probably the first major test, if it gets there, will be 88. Okay. To me, this is 80 to 88 for now. Okay. And, we are short this. Okay. XBI, X-Ray Bravo, X-Ray Bravo India, just in dead solid consolidation. And again, these are the things that I'm looking at when I say we're going to make a huge move. A lot of these markets are just winding like a coil, okay, which suggests on that basis that there's a huge move coming. Okay. And Andy, you and I have both seen it. We've both been through 87, 01, 08. Okay.
Yep.
And we've seen these coiling markets. Okay. What's going up? Okay. I don't know what you're asking, what you're going up, but whatever. Okay. It's nicer if you put what's going up or whatever. In the meantime, I can't even really give a level here. I mean, but 130 to 132. Okay. Zoom. Okay. We remain short Zoom, and it continues to help us.
Lower lows.
Okay. It continues to break down. And again, this 275 level is going to be huge. If it continues, and it is lower in the post market, I think we have, something. Oh, biotech. Yeah, I don't blame you that it's going. I don't deny that it can go higher, but I will say this. Okay. If it's going to go higher, why isn't it? Okay. That's what I want to know. If it's going to go higher, why isn't it? Now, we can always say what we think, but if there was news and underlying stuff that suggested that it was going higher, then it might be higher. And right now, the news is suggesting nothing. The underlying factors are suggesting nothing. The price action is suggesting nothing. Okay, so they may go up, but again, I can't just say that blanketly, because all the good news that they could possibly have so far is out. What else are they going to come up with? Now, again, they can certainly. November, Oscar, Michael Delta. Normal Foods Limited. Okay. I mean, this is a Chinese company. I mean, this is, breaking out above some consolidation. I mean, it certainly looks okay. I mean, I don't trade it. I don't know what they do. I have no idea. In fact, as I look at it, it's not even one I would ever consider trading unless it had some huge dividend. Okay. It doesn't move enough for me to even want to be involved. But as I look at it, 27 or so, and it looks like it can go to 29 next stop. Okay, so I would not even waste my time or money here unless you own it and you have a big position. Okay, and the technology is maturing soon, so am I. Someday I'm going to go through puberty. DDD, Delta. Gee, I haven't heard that name for a long time. Okay, I mean, this is no different than anything else. Look at how narrow this market is getting. Okay. I mean, I have no idea. I don't even have a guess. Okay. So, from a charting standpoint, 2750 to 3250. Okay. Merck, another beauty. I mean, Merck is, came down, got clobbered down to 71. Now it's popping. But look, it's a dividend payer. It's one that you obviously, if you want to own for long term, it is certainly not a trading stock. Okay. That I can tell you for sure. Okay. I'm saying my shirt's working on that. Oh, I didn't give any levels on Zoom. You are correct. Okay. You are correct. Okay. Let me go back. Once again, you caught me. Okay. I just mouth off. I would say 275 resistance. And I did say that the 270 area is the key to watch. Okay. That's all. You are right. I did not give you formal numbers. Okay. COVID pills are coming. Okay. American is that a stock? If you think I'm looking up, if you don't have the symbol, don't give it to me. Okay. Anybody else got any stocks they want? If not, again, we're getting closer to having more action in the markets. We're getting closer to being a little bit more aggressive. I can see that. I can see that in the day trading. Okay. I can see that with the opportunities. And I think what's going to have to happen is we're going to have some pretty good movement out of some of these pockets that we've been sitting in for so long. Okay. Really, Ford? That actually had a big move. I was surprised last time like that. I mean, 14, 12 to 14. Okay. I don't know. I mean, this, for me, you must own this. There's no way anybody wants to trade this. Okay. In my opinion. I mean, you must own it. But didn't they stop their dividend? Because that was the only purpose that I remember for Ford was they had a dividend, and I don't have it anymore. I mean, I wouldn't give them 2 cents. Okay. I mean, that's me personally.
Elon Musk can afford to buy the whole company, but he's done.
I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't give them 2 cents because they don't, without a dividend, what good are they? Okay.
Victor Lima Oscar.
Victor Lima Oscar over Valero. That's an Andy stock.
That's an Andy stock.
Breaking out. Look at that.
Yeah.
Right above. Okay. Now again, obviously it was in very tight consolidation and is now broken out.
That's why I gave it to you. I want to show how the consolidation tends to give way to a significant move. Seems like it's on the way.
The Cowboys over parlay. You're on the other side of me, baby. I got the Eagles big. I got no action on the over and under. I got the Eagles big tonight. Okay. I got them in the circuit contest too. I need them. This to me actually in Valero looks like almost a blow off today, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay. Oh, look who's here. My brother, the rabbi is here. What's up, Tom? How you doing, baby? Carnival Cruise Lines. Look at that. Isn't that nice? They're popping nicely. I got that earnings, I think, on Friday. Okay. A nice little charge up. I think 26 is probably, some support. I would suspect that you got, at least a run to maybe 28 or higher. I mean, certainly if this variant and all this crap ever gets resolved, there's probably a lot of room in the cruise lines, which is why I was recommending it was $9. Okay.
He's bigger than U.S. Steel.
No, U.S. Steel. Okay. This has been, I stopped looking at this when I gave up on it, but here it looks, 21 support, it's got to fill this gap at, 24, so 25. I think that, it's got some room. I mean, certainly, at this point, based on what's going on with lumber, based on what's going on with the other things, I don't see a lot for this, but again, certainly an infrastructure package could help this. Okay. What are your thoughts on the U.S. Steel? I know you watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's putting in a decent base, a little bit of a higher low. It fits into the whole industrial mode. Copper starts moving towards the upside. This will do well. So I like it better than I don't like it. But trend following, you got to be short.
Eagles 1-7 against a spreader straight up. LMT, Death Cross. Let's see. I don't track the moving averages, but I can kind of get a feel for the. Could be. Okay. It certainly, again, this is a different animal. This is more of a dividend payer and a player. Okay. I don't trade it myself. Okay. Yeah, they did look at us and I was wrong. But again, okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll be wrong. Okay. But I still got them. I still bet them. And I think it's the right side. Okay. So we'll see.
Who, the Eagles? I agree.
I think the Cowboys are still overrated, and they could be 0-2 just as well as they're 1-1, and they could be 2-0 as well. And we'll see. As I said, I don't have anything.
Meanwhile, the Raiders have been great. Love them or hate them, they've been playing some exciting.
I'm playing great. I can't believe that one yesterday.
By the way, the games have been exciting.
I got to tell you something. I wanted to hang my kid yesterday. We were watching it, and him and his money line. I go, we don't want. Oh, I did that wrong again. LBTYA.
My son lost. My son in Indiana lost a 5-team parlay on the Raiders.
I mean,
the Raiders, he gave 3.5.
Oh, he's a schmuck. We had the Dolphins yesterday. Yeah, it is breaking out. I told you I liked it last week. Okay, it looks great. Okay, look at it. It's just solidly trending higher. Okay. In the meantime, I said, we don't want them to make this 2-point conversion because we don't want this game going to overtime. We'll lose by accident. Okay. So the trend is your friend. I'm not arguing. Again, look, I didn't look at that, but I'm already in and I ain't changed. I ain't paying the juice to get out. How's that? And I do like the Eagles anyways. Okay. EA, Electronic Arts. I don't know. Looks pretty bad to me. I mean, this bounce is probably a sell in my eyes. Okay. But, you know, this broke down to the bottom end of consolidation. Okay. To me, this is what we have to look forward to coming forward. Okay. So in the meantime, you know, we'll see what happens. We're getting ready to be more aggressive. I think it's getting closer. Okay. My pronouns properly. Which one is that? What's a pronoun? Anyways, I think that, you know, we're getting closer to becoming a little bit more aggressive. I can see I'm standing at mouthing off. Thank you, my brother, the doctor. I can see some stuff getting ready. And of course, we're willing to participate should there be activity for us. Okay. But again, I tell you, follow the trend. If you're day trading, use the blow off model and just be careful. Again, we're not 100% ready to move yet, but you can see the action is close. Andy, as always, brother, I thank you, Matt. And to everybody out there, have a great week. So I'll see somebody tomorrow at hedging and some to Wednesday at futures. In the meantime, as always, I thank you. We'll see you next week. For the most part, good night, everybody.